going over the attendance sheet. So she wants to make sure she has everybody accounted for.
Hi, who just came on?
Hello, Shalom Skaist.
Hi, Shalom.
Hi.
Jack Redkinski.
Hi, Jack.
Hi.
Frank Engelberg.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, how's everyone?
Good, thank you.
Hi, who just joined us?
Hi, it's Phyllis.
Phyllis? How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you, Phyllis?
Thank you.
I'm good.
Hi, who just joined us?
Alicia Shrem.
Shrum.
Shram. Elisa Shram. Hi, Elisa.
Yeah. How are you?
Hi, and
How are you?
Sarah Farbstein.
Hi, Sarah. Hiya.
Sarah, hiya. Okay. We're checking off on an attendance sheet. Hi, Phyllis. I see your sleeve. Oh,
Hi, you see me?
Oh, now we see you.
Isn't that amazing?
That's fun.
Save an airfare and a hotel room. We should be getting started shortly, so thank you all for your patience in waiting.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Sarah.
If I could remind everyone, before each time you speak, if you could say your name, identify yourself before you speak, that would be really helpful. We don't get to paid video, but we do get to tape audio. And that would be wonderful, so we could identify your comments.
I should sit there? Oh, okay. Change of seating.
I just wanted to say a quick hello to everyone. I'm Liz Wright, for those of you who haven't met me, and I'm the Associate Dean for the Education Department at Amon College. The Director of our Alternative Certification Programs, Dr. Mary Fox, will be facilitating the focus group today, but I wanted to welcome everyone and thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for taking time out during, obviously, what is your lunch break during your day to work with us and to provide feedback on our teacher candidates. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you. I guess we're ready to get started now. First of all, I'd like to welcome you as well, and thank you profusely for sharing your time today. I know it's invaluable, so we really appreciate you helping us in our accreditation process and in our monitoring of our programs in Brooklyn. So thank you very, very much. Can everyone hear and see okay?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
everybody okay?
We definitely.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, we are here today because we are interested in knowing the teaching effectiveness of graduates from our teacher preparation program. We will use information gathered here to inform our faculty regarding how we can improve our program. Use information gathered here to inform our faculty regarding what areas of our program is or are working, and we'll celebrate our successes. We will share information gathered here with our accrediting body, which is TIAC, soon to be CAPE. Okay, our first focus question is, what are the unique strengths and or weaknesses of Damon TTI Teacher Preparation Program graduates? Anyone?
I'll speak. It's Sarah Farbstein.
Farbstein? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi. I found that our graduates are very proficient in terms of writing IEPs and writing appropriate SMART goals. That has been a success.
Okay. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, no, I wasn't sure. I came in. Hi, I'm sorry. It's Eva Badner. I got on it a few minutes later, so I wasn't sure if I was muted or not. Anyway, I've been teaching. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. Okay, I've been teaching the student teaching course for a number of years, and I definitely see over the past few cycles that the students are definitely much stronger and are really getting a knack of embedding objectives naturally for individual students within their lesson plans, and also making accommodations, whether it's curriculum modifications or environmental modifications for individual students, and embedding them within their lessons as well.
Thank you very much. It's nice to hear. Anyone else?
It's Rachel Schwab.
Thank you, Rachel.
I've noticed an increased ability also, I'd say, in the more recent semesters of their ability to use the Common Core standards and goals more readily, more easily, without having to kind of fumble and say, I'm not sure where to find it, how to apply it, and how to use them in conjunction with the lessons.
So thank you very much. That's good to hear. Anyone else have a strength?
I found that the teachers demonstrated
excuse me. Please introduce your name first so we know who's talking.
My name is Basia Weinstein. I just joined a few moments ago.
Okay.
I find that the teachers who have been trained through Damien demonstrate strength and ability to identify students' strengths and weaknesses and be able to work with their strengths to compensate for their weaknesses.
Oh, excellent.
Good to hear.
Anyone else want to add a strength? Anyone noticed? Go ahead.
Hi, I'm sorry. It's Eva Badner again. I also have, in different capacities, hired students that have been graduates. And I do find that out of all of I've at least hired 4. And I feel like they just really have a thirst for knowledge and for continuing and developing and honing their skills. And they're always looking for guidance and to just soak up whatever they can learn, whether it's from their supervisors or from related service providers that they're teaming with.
Thank you. Do you find that that's unique to Damon graduates or the particular community of learners?
I definitely think that it is, yes, partly unique, but I also feel it's also the environment that is created within the, community of where they are, wherever their job was at that time. I really, I think they know that they were expected to really come up to the plate, and I think I think a lot of it's environment, and when people are in a situation where everybody around them is excited about growing and learning, it's contagious. But I do also think that I hired them because I saw that in them to begin with.
Oh, good. Well, that's good to hear. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes. Hi. This is This is Rosie Muller from Base Kinder. I have an after-school program, and I've done mentoring for Damon students. And I'd like to say that I find that the biggest issue lately in the last year or two that these students are coming to me with is how to deal with behavior management issues in the classroom. They're not sure if they should be treating it on a one-on-one basis, as a group, talking to the teacher, talking to the mother. So I find that that's something I like to help them with because I find that behavior is like my specialty. But that's something that's been coming up numerous times in the last 2 or 3 years that I've been doing this. Just wanted to mention that.
Okay, so you would call that a weakness of the program?
No, not at all. I think it's in general, the things have changed in the schools, and I find I do evaluations. I do ed evaluations on the CPSC level, and I go to a lot of play groups and nursery schools and schools in Brooklyn, mostly in Borough Park and Flatbush. And I find that most of the children I'm evaluating now are behavioral issues. They could be cognitively okay or pretty okay, and the issues are behavior, and it's really over the edge. I just evaluated a child in June who kicks the teacher and has been kicking the teacher for 10 months, and the mother didn't want to do the referral and da-da-da. So we, in general, I think just behavior has become a major issue, and it's something to be addressed. So the young people that I've mentored for have picked up on this, and they took it. They were great with it. They came back to show me what they did, whether they did behavioral charts or prizes or whatever it was that they did for that age that I recommended. It really worked, and I was very proud of them.
Well, good. Thank you. That's good to hear. Anyone else?
Yes. Hi. This is Elisa Shrem. I teach the language course. I've only done it twice, but I have to say that I was very impressed with the students' base knowledge in terms of the theorists and what they were applying their goals based on the theories that they learned, and how that really translates to evidence-based practice. So they're really relying on that base knowledge and taking it to the next level. I was very impressed with that with the students.
Well, thank you very much. That also is good to hear. Anyone else?
This is Jack Rutkinsky.
I teach in the men's department, and I would like to see that more time is spent and more time given to the students to learn and to hone their writing skills. I find that it's still not at the level what it should be at a master's program. I know that they have writing courses on the first term, and possibly it should be considered to continue that into a second and third term, especially with many of the men who are coming from backgrounds that don't have the introduction to the writing skills that we would want to see from a teacher.
Okay, thank you. That's good to know. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Jack Rutkinsky.
Right.
Just to mention that the whole issue of experience as a student teaching seminar, both instructor as well as coordinator of the program, we find that those that have varied experiences, both individual and small group and large group instruction, tend to do better in applying what we're teaching them in the actual courses.
Excellent. Any other comments from anyone? Any weaknesses anybody would like to note?
Okay, hi, this is Sippy Brown. Am I interrupting somebody that wanted to speak?
No,
go ahead.
Okay.
Is there anybody else?
Can you hear me? Is Sippy Brown?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Can you
hi.
say your name again?
Sippy Brown.
Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to share with you some positive strengths that I've noticed. I work in an organization where we hire many providers who are graduates of the Damon TTI program. I think Javi Bodner mentioned earlier about the thirst for knowledge. I have to add to that the professional development program in our organization has numerous attendees, and I usually recognize the faces from former students, and many of them are from TTI's program, Damon's graduate program. And I did, throw in a question, what brings you here? And they say that they did learn the power of networking and getting more information when they were in the program. So that's something that I just wanted to add. In addition to what Dr. Rutkinsky mentioned about the writing skills, I understand that there is a concern, and we have spoken about it, and improvements has been made. I just wanted to bring an awareness that when we're writing specific reports, they've had experience in writing IEP reports. However, now in early intervention, there has been a shift with the embedded coaching, and the progress reports have a new format. So perhaps we might want to include specific training in how to complete those early intervention reports as the early childhood program requirements. So that's just a thought, suggestion.
Thank you,
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Thank you. It has been added, Sippy, just so you know, it has been added as it's been coming through in February, and they are being trained since February, the first and second cycle, which you probably will see only by next year because that's when they'll graduate. The infant and toddler course, the EI intervention course, is given way at the beginning of the program, and so they've been now trained. Our entire syllabus has been revised to include embedded coaching routines and learning activities, both in their session plans, in their progress notes, and in their approach to intervention. And we've gone away from the toy bag and all that stuff that we used to do before, which is not anymore recognized by the entire EI field. Another thing I wanted to mention, just to also clarify some of the things that Mrs. Muller had mentioned. First of all, thank you for your feedback, and we really appreciate it, and our students have been very enthusiastic all the time when coming back from mentoring with you about how much training and input they've gotten from the behavior management skills and approaches you've been introducing them to. I just also want to tell you that.
Thank you for the feedback.
You're very welcome, Roz, and I really should be should take more time to really make calls to individual people, but we really have been receiving very positive statements. I also just want to tell you that when they do come at mentoring, it's really at the very beginning of their program and also prior to them having taken their complete behavior management course towards the end. And what we found from the students is that when they do have this kind of mentoring at an initial level and at a baseline level with you right in the field and with people like you in the field, they're able to embrace the course content down the line, when they do take that behavior management course. And it's something that perhaps, as a college, we've been looking at perhaps bringing the behavior management course a little bit earlier in the program rather than at the end. It's got its pros and cons, but yeah.
Right. I agree.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you. I think we can move on to the next question. The second one would be, how effectively do graduates of our teacher preparation program understand and apply the New York State Common Core learning standards within your chosen curricula? Now, I know one of the commenters on the last question did address this, but perhaps we could go into it a little bit more. Anyone have a comment?
Hi, this is Eva Badner again.
Hi.
I do think, again, in more recent cohorts or, more recent, recent cohorts as a teacher, but also as someone who hires TTI graduates, I feel that more recently they're even more familiar with them than they were, say, when I first started hiring. I think they're much more in tune to it. I think there's more of a demand for it on all different levels. And, even within my program and, or where even I was before, we also demanded that they be familiar with it and, and label it within the classroom and have it in their plan book. So again, it's hard for me to know if it's, again, the community of my program that they're working in, or if they had it from before. But I think just from also being a student teacher instructor, I think they have it now really down more pat when they're graduating than, say, 5 years ago.
All right.
I think they're familiar with it.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Basia Weinstein again. Some of my Damien graduate teachers are teachers who graduated from the program a number of years ago, before the Common Core was really instituted and taught in the program. And we've done quite a bit of professional development in the school around the Common Core. However, I have found that those who have graduated from the program understand and are able to apply the PD that we've offered in school more easily than those who have not. So they have the background information to take what we're giving them in the PD in school around Common Core and be able to implement it in the classroom and apply it more easily than those who have not had previous trainings.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
I guess one comment, this just came up actually in, I think it was my fall semester, that the girls are familiar with the Common Core standards. Most of them do know about the pre-K benchmarks, but I had one student, I could have been two, that wasn't as familiar with those. I don't know if those are, that's my only, but again, it was really one or two students. Everybody else really was very familiar with them and knew how to access them, and they knew about them and were implementing it. But again, that could have just been one of those two students that maybe, were not my strongest.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Are you ready for the next question? What do I click here? That. Thank you. All right. how effectively do our graduates, or do graduates of our teacher preparation program use instructional technology in the classroom?
I see, again, it's Basti Weinstein speaking. I see that the graduates are more fluent and fluid with the use of smart boards than my teachers who are not from the program, and that they use it more. They use it more frequently to engage the students and to enable the students to be involved with interactive work.
Okay. Do any of them have experience or use the iPads or any of the other technology devices available today?
Well, because our school limits the internet accessibility, they don't have the opportunity to use the iPads.
Okay.
So it's not their lack of ability; it's the school's limitation on internet use in the school.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have a comment on teacher preparation's use of instructional technology?
Okay, my name is Sippy Brown. May I speak?
Sure.
Okay. I'm coming from a perspective where our providers are working with early childhood population ages 3 to 5, and certain schools do allow the use of iPads, so some of the graduates are fluent in that, and they're able to maximize the quality of the sessions by using programs or apps, as better known, in the iPad. So I've found a greater incidence of iPad usage because the graduates were much more familiar than I myself am with using the iPad, and it was just interesting. At one point, they asked them to show me different programs, and I was pretty impressed with what is available and that they were using it with the permission of the school.
Well, thank you very much. Anyone else? Kathy would like to hear that. She did all the ordering. Anyone else?
Hi, this is Elisa Shrem. We use iPads extensively in my program, and my Damon graduate, one of my teachers, she is not just using, but she's applying the developmental knowledge that she learned in the program and choosing the appropriate apps, which to me is really a key component of using the iPad. What is developmentally appropriate? What are the correct programs, teaching programs to be using? So she has done that very effectively.
Thank you. That is very good to hear. Anyone else? Before
This is Jack Krasinski.
Oh, hi, Jack.
We find across the board, the men being in so many different and varied kinds of school placements, that anything from the use of a computer, projectors, obviously smart boards and things of that can take place. But even something in prehistoric days that they've adapted, which I think is important not to limit, even though we wouldn't technically call it technology, something like the small magnetic boards that they use or that they write upon and that they have the students write from. So it's not a traditional classroom didactic lecture. They'll work one-on-one quite effectively or in small groups, and they'll use materials that even if it doesn't necessarily have a plug or a Bluetooth, they still can adapt for the students' use.
Thank you. That's good to hear. And anyone else?
I have a TTI graduate, Chava Badner, working for me now. She is a STAR teacher. She's definitely technology-oriented. I actually am purchasing an iPad this week, a newer version, and she's going to be the one really downloading the apps and creating my curriculum as my right-hand lady over the summer to get ready for September. So I very much trust her and think that she's very savvy and knows what to do. She also brings technology into the classroom. Whether it's computers, she actually, at the end of the year when the families came in for our Moving Up celebration, she incorporated technology. She did some things, in person with the parents, but she also made a PowerPoint slideshow that she used on, on a smartboard, and she, it was beautiful and very meaningful to the families as well. And so she's very, focused and in tune with, up and coming technology and as it advances.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Shalom Skeist. In my school, we don't use this technology, but in the schools that I've observed TTI students doing their practicum, I've seen that, especially in those where they're dealing with in special ed schools, it's extensive use of the smartboard and other technology, and some of them have said to me, the students, that because of TTI, they're very comfortable with it, and they're using it on a daily basis, and they find it indispensable.
Okay. Thank you. That also is good to hear. Anyone else? All right. Our next question then is, please identify the most critical instructional technology in which teacher candidates should be trained.
This is Sippy Brown, if I may speak up. I was just thinking perhaps, I'm not sure what curriculum is used in order to help them use, iPad. I'm saying from experience of what I observed. And then Chava Badner mentioned, or somebody else had mentioned, about the fact that they were able to choose the right applications, for iPad. Is there some work, or is there some training involved? Which types of apps are appropriate for which type of population or which age group?
Yes, in fact, we do train them throughout the program in various courses, but we begin at the instructional methods course and then at the transdisciplinary course or curriculum adaptation, and follow up later on within their field work with some training. We actually have shared it with some of the instructors, and some of you are both instructors and administrators on this call, so you recall the iWhat presentation, and basically we tell them, it's basically that format of iWhat. So yeah, we do have technology, so what? It's the question of so what that we are training that we're training our students with. It's using it as a means to an end, and becoming very aware of what that end is, as Eliza mentioned, developmental appropriateness of the tool, and in which way can you use it for which population. And so, their training is very specific in terms of individual populations, but as you know, with technology as well, there's a lot of crossover and carryover, so that flexibility in mind and thinking and that creativity is also an element that we try to preserve with the use of technology.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Thanks, Tippy.
Thank you, Sarah. Any other responses to this question? Okay, let's go to the next one, which is, how effectively do graduates of our teacher preparation program work with diverse populations of students?
It's Basia Weinstein. I'm representing a large community school in the Borough Park neighborhood, which is a community school which has as its student population students from diverse populations, meaning we have diverse, perhaps a little bit different than the world might view diverse, but by diverse in terms of our community view, meaning we have students who come from yeshiva backgrounds, from Lithuanian backgrounds, from Hasidic backgrounds, from Russian, Bulgarian backgrounds, from Iranian backgrounds, students who come from homes in which there was not a religious background, and students who come from homes where a variety of different languages are spoken, Iranian, Russian, Hebrew, Yiddish, Farsi, for example. And I mentioned Iranian Farsi, that's really the language. And I find that there is work to be done in order to blend these different students and their backgrounds into a whole, and to have students appreciate and recognize the strengths of the different cultures that are being represented within the classrooms. And I find that our Damien-trained teachers are able to do this. Additionally, as a community school, we also address the needs of handicapped students, so that we have students who are hearing impaired, we have students who are physically impaired in wheelchairs and so forth, as well as other handicapping conditions. And our Damien-trained teachers are able to use their training to enable those students to be successful, and to enable the other students in the class to successfully assist them without diminishing from their self-esteem.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments on working with diverse populations of students?
Like I said, over the number of years that I've been in the field as an administrator, I have hired, I think it's about 4 graduates from TTI. They all work for me within multicultural settings, and they all were able to blend beautifully in the schools, the Head Start programs that they work within as special ed teachers, working with staff and families and that come from diverse backgrounds.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
It's Rachel Schwab. I work in a school that's a community school as well, but we do also have a diverse population of children from different backgrounds, homes that speak different languages, children from homes that are more supportive and some that are less functional, so that they have to have the ability to work with parents of varying abilities, to work with students who live in community homes, not only at home, and to come from diverse kind of Jewish but different cultural backgrounds. And I find them to be very able to do so. I find their level of being able to integrate and deal well without showing any discomfort to be very strong, and I'm very pleased with it.
Okay, thank you again. Anyone else? Well, let's go ahead. Go ahead.
So Yellow Vialda services numerous communities in the tri-state area.
I missed your name.
Tippy Brown.
Right, thank you.
Okay, Yellow Vialda has numerous Head Start sites across the community in various regions, and I would say that many of our Head Starts are comprised of different, a diverse population of students, whether it's ethnic backgrounds or even within the Jewish community or with outside. They are able to use effective tools to collaborate with the parents, so that the parents are a good partner and an important partner in the process of learning, because if the providers do partner effectively with the parents, the child's level of learning is much greater, has a much greater chance of succeeding in that sense. So I find that that's one of the qualities we keep on stressing about the collaborative efforts with the parents. And no matter if you don't come from that community, you still need to see how you can meet the needs of that particular parent from that particular community, and I'm very pleased with that.
That's good to hear. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, our next question. Please comment on our teacher candidates' ability to work with non-English speaking students for whom English is not their native language.
Ms. Bossie-Weinstein, I believe in my previous answer I commented slightly on this. We do have students who are new immigrants. We have students who have been in school all the years, but who at home are not fluent in English, and therefore their fluency is compromised. And I find that many of the special ed techniques that the Damien College graduates come in with are highly applicable to this population, and in terms of being able to ensure that the expressive and receptive skills are being brought out, and they are able to do this well.
All right, thank you. There is an overlap with the prior question somewhat, but does anybody want to add anything to this particular question?
Okay. What's it called? So there's I'm sorry, I'm not talking straight. The graduates from TTI that have worked within the Head Start programs as special ed teachers were really always in an alternate interim classroom. So there was always another staff member there that probably spoke, most likely Spanish or Urdu. So they always had that as a crush, but I always saw them leaning and learning the language from whether it was the Spanish speaking or the Urdu speaking individual in the class. and then embedding those words and sentences into their, lesson plans or when just conversing with children.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, our next question. How well do the curricula and or field experiences prepare our teacher candidates to work with students with severe and multiple disabilities?
It's Rachel Schwab. The school that I work in, the students in our school we have a diverse population as far as handicapped and disabilities go, but we definitely have students with severe disabilities and severe handicaps and multiple handicaps as well. And one of our teachers right now is a Damon TTI graduate. And I, as an employer, am very impressed with how she handles these children and how she deals with them, because it can be difficult. Their disabilities can be challenging and intimidating at some instances. And she really has a good handle on it, is very calm about it, and seems to know how to deal with multiple disabilities and handicaps on a daily basis.
Thank you. Anyone else?
It's just too bad. At this time, I think we were going to have Mrs. Bluma Barhoren from Yaldenu and Judith Brenner from Integrated. Both groups, both institutions are actually serving children with severe and multiple disabilities. It would be lovely to hear their feedback. But hopefully they'll still join. I did send them an email just to remind them again.
Okay. Thank you,
but
Sarah.
1 second, this is Sippy Brown. I also can share about this because Yalda does have ABA programs that seriously how do you say, the population of students require intense remediation, and it is a phenomenal program, the ABA program. We have actually about 4 locations, and the providers that are working, many of them are former TTI graduates, and what astounds me is the ability to be resilient and to be extremely self-initiated and proactive in developing programs that require very much individually tailored program for each student. And I do give a tremendous credit to the TTI graduates, Damon College graduates, simply because they've gotten a wide range of teaching experience how to work with the ABA population. So Sarah and Phyllis, that I have seen a tremendous improvement in that area.
Thank you. Thank you, Tippy. Glad to hear.
Thank you. Is that it before we move on to the next question? Okay, Jack.
With the men, most of them are working in pretty much mixed settings, not in self-contained classrooms or in schools. But those that are able to make adaptations as a result of the instruction that they've gotten. And as just heard from Sippy Brown, we have a couple of students who are working in Yalda Vialda ABA programs, and they've been really able to add a lot to the community where the only providers permitted are men. And so we're very happy with the outcomes that are going on right now.
Thank you, Jack. Any other comments?
Yes,
yeah,
hi, this is
Elise. Okay, go first.
No, it's a short comment. My TTI graduate, I find, not only came very prepared to work with the students with severe and multiple disabilities, which we have in my program, but the and the appropriateness of her interaction with the parents and how to deal with the families has been quite impressive as well. And I think that's a very important component for a teacher. Their interaction with the families has to really be, the sensitivity that needs to be there. And she has really shown that ability.
Wow, that's great.
It's good to hear.
Okay, this is Rosie Muller again. My after-school program is more of a creative arts, music, therapy, social interactive type program. But the TTI graduates that I have mentored that have spent time there had the most wonderful ideas of accommodating the disabilities, accommodating the issues, creating compensatory activities for the children, and really being very creative, which we allow them to be creative because it's not a core curriculum group. And I think they enjoyed it because their creative skills were shining. They were wonderful.
Great. Excellent. And I'm glad they had that opportunity, or have that opportunity as well. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. The next question. Please identify specific ways that better mentoring of our candidates can occur.
This is Sippy Brown, if I may speak up. This has been a challenge, over the years in terms of when I'm thinking of the Aldos community by itself. The setting is that we send out CEITS providers into classrooms. Other type of occupations would be, where a teacher is, where somebody who has a degree would be teaching in a classroom setting. Here, a CEIT provider works with a child and has to work in collaboration with a classroom teacher. From my experience, I understood the practicum requires them to work in a classroom setting. I'm just wondering if there could be more support in how to work effectively alongside a classroom teacher, because the CEIT role is very delicate. We can't overstep the boundaries of a classroom teacher. The classroom teacher has control of the entire classroom. The CEIT provider has to see how to work on those individual needs of the student within the class. It could be that it is implemented. I was just wondering if there's something that could be a greater focus. That's one request. And my second request is because I'm also working in the EI population, and I was trained with the embedded coaching in a very intense manner. Are there any mentoring opportunities to observe some providers working in the EI population to show how the embedded coaching is done effectively? I don't recall, you did mention something earlier about it, but just wondering if the mentoring does include that.
Sarah?
Okay. So
can I make a comment? This is Rosie Muller. I work in early intervention. I've had numerous calls from service coordinators asking if they were actually some TTI graduates, if they can come along with me and see my sessions. So there is a confidentiality component to this.
Exactly. Right.
It's not so simple in the early intervention area.
Right.
And if you've ever been audited by early intervention, as I have, they're they stress confidentiality, and everything has to be under lock and key and encoded in your computer. So it's not such a simple thing.
Right.
I have done it when the mother has agreed, the service coordinator has agreed, and the head of the agency. But it's not a simple thing to do. You can't just say, I'm bringing somebody with me. I don't know if it's proper. Though I have seen some physical therapists who are teaching other physical therapists how to do their program, and they did bring them along, but I don't know what had to be done in order to do that.
Well, in general, and I'll carry over on what you've been saying. Thank you, Razi, for sharing that. Actually, Tippy, we have been trying to make sure that, especially in the field of early childhood and in that particular program, since we have those 3 levels of expertise is pretty much required, the 0 to 3 as EI, and then the 3 to 5 for preschool, and then the K to 2 for early elementary grades, we do have to provide them with enough of a variety in terms of their field work. So number one concern that we have is that we pretty much can't lock them into a certain age group, but we can provide them with the options and the encouragement and the willingness to pretty much go for a variety of fieldwork experiences. Since we are an alternative program and have embedded in our program both mentoring, practicum, and student teachings, we do inspire them and encourage them to try to diversify so that each one of those fieldwork experiences would be with a different age group. With that, obviously the easier spots to find opportunities for teaching are usually in the elementary grades or in school-based environments. Sometimes in early daycare center or in EI centers, we find that they have a chance to be mentored and to work in self-contained programs that cater to the 0 to 3 populations, and we have many of our students in such programs. In terms of embedded coaching with home visits, what Rosie Mahler has mentioned is exactly the reason for which we cannot make it a requirement, but we do encourage it. And what we also try to do is, since many of our instructors are also EI interventionists, we either have certain agreements that are made through the interventionists, through the close relationships they have with their parents, and in that way we do get an approval for the parent, for the interventionist to bring in a candidate. But most of the time it's done in other ways, where there's coaching, where the interventionist will present to our students hands-on what she's going to be doing without actually being there with her. We also have some of our instructors who have gotten approvals from the parents or environments that they've been working in to allow them to videotape, and we have been able to use certain clips throughout all of our cohorts and throughout all of our sessions to kind of give them that visualization without having to travel and meet with other parents who may not be comfortable because of confidentiality issues and because of state requirements as well. But we are looking for ideas, and I'd welcome anything that you have to provide, especially I know that Yale has EI centers and other opportunities that may lend themselves to more of this hands-on experience.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Sarah. That was very helpful. Any other comments before we go to the next question? Well, thank you. And we're almost done, and I want to thank you again for all of your great comments and feedbacks. They're like golden chips, so thank you very much. So please identify specific ways. Oh, I did that one, sorry. Please identify ways we could better build relationships with community schools and ways we could provide professional development opportunities for our graduates within your schools. Any thoughts?
Perhaps. Yeah, this is Vicki Brown. I'm just thinking about the question, with more thought. Perhaps if, sometimes topic, let's say the graduates may be invited to certain schools, such as, let's say Yale would be one of those, so that they get to see hands-on, learning, what's going on. Perhaps, I'm just, how do you say, throwing a suggestion that's just coming out of the top of my head, that maybe that one of the directors of the programs could share information to a group of graduates, not such a large group, a small group at a time, and then those graduates can share those ideas with others that have visited other locations. I'm just thinking of some kind of a model how you can build a relationship with the schools, or with different programs. Just a thought.
Thank you. Good thought. Anyone else? No? All right, well, let's move on to our final question. How would you rank?
I'm sorry. I had muted. I didn't realize it. This is Kava Badner. What I think is nice about the instructors in TTI is a lot of times they have access to new and coming changes that are happening in the state level and curriculum level, even before it hits the schools. And if there are changes in curriculum that are up and coming, I think it would be great if they wanted to get workshops on those changes and things that, to let the schools that are collaborating with the TTI graduates or hiring them, in the know, so that they can be, up and up. I think, schools know things sometimes before, but a lot of times, there's a lot of plans in place, even years before it hits the actual field. And just having that knowledge and know-how, and as it's, coming about, would be wonderful.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, final question. How would you rank our graduates' overall professional abilities compared to graduates of other teacher preparation programs?
So this is Sippy Brown. Sippy Brown speaking. So I do feel confident in being able to hire graduates from Damon College TTI program because of the exposure of, the current topics, or, because I have taught previous courses, I know what curriculums are being designed so that they meet the needs of our students, specifically, let's say, with assessment tools, being able to assess the students more effectively so they can deliver the sessions. I have confidence because when I have an applicant or a prospective interview coming in and they have, graduated, then, we have full confidence in them that they will be able to continue forward and use our professional development to help them further their education, even though they have achieved their degree.
Thank you. That's very invaluable. That's wonderful, actually. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Judy Brenner from Integrated.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for joining, Judy.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was caught in the Board of Ed, so I just got back. But overall, our experience has been extremely positive. We feel that the students come well prepared, especially with doing ongoing assessments, which is very important, not just to provide the service, but constantly assess and see how to change the program that they're using. And I think that these students come very well trained in that area. So we're very pleased.
Thank you.
You find
this is.
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
That's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, this is Rosie Muller again. Hi, Judy.
Hi, Rosie.
I just wanted to say that the students, the graduates that I have mentored from the TTI Damon College program have all gone on. They all have work. They're all busy. I've gotten great feedback from the parents because it's sort of a small community when it comes down to it. And everybody's been very, very happy with them, the agencies and the parents and the schools. So I get continuous feedback, and I think that says the best thing about it. They're all busy. They're working. They're successful.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Rachel Schwab. It's Rachel Schwab. I find that the teachers that I have observed, as much as they come in with a lot of knowledge and knowing how to use what they've learned, they also come in with a very good attitude of wanting to learn more. So that if there's a different methodology that a school prefers or something new that we want to introduce to them or train them in, it's not like they're coming in, this is what we learned, and this is the only thing that I want to implement. It's this eagerness to learn new things and apply them as well.
Thank you. Anyone else? Specifically, do you have experience with graduates from other programs?
I do. And this is Judy Brenner. In fact, I had a graduate coming from Teachers College in Columbia, which is, very rare to find their way to Brooklyn.
Yes.
We were so disappointed. We were figuring that this was going to be somebody with great skills, with great experience, and we were extremely disappointed. And we've had from other schools as well, and I can say that we weren't impressed with some of the other schools. So we've had a lot of experience with that.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Sholem-based can't compare to other schools, but I do know that three of the students of the MEN program have already moved into administrative positions in various places, and I think that attests to the success of the program.
That actually speaks well of the program. You're right. Any other comments on this question? Well, let me thank you again. I really can't thank you enough for giving us an hour of your very valuable time and giving us such wonderful answers to our questions. Does anybody have any questions for us?
I just want to add something, Mississippi Brown, to your last question. I think who also has tremendous appreciation towards the Damon College CTI program is that the parents within the community are simply overwhelmed with gratitude that they have providers that are part of the community that can work with their children. And it's important to have a common understanding of, where the child's background is, where they're coming from, and if we have providers within our community servicing those children, that is a very powerful, effective tool. So I think that's something that parents are extremely grateful that there is such a service for our community. I remember 20 years ago, or even 25 years ago, where I had providers coming in from other communities. There was a big adjustment period where children have to get to know the providers well enough to trust those providers, whereas here, when they come within our community, it's so much easier to make that transition much quicker and more effective to dive right into the intervention program.
Okay, thank you again for your comment. Any other comments? Any other questions?